Welcome
Hello
back,
everyone. Good.
sorry, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Please.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we have fourth lecture of flat space holography. Over to you, Aditya.
Thank you, Subhan. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. So today is the fourth lecture for this, and today what we will basically be discussing will be the CFT. Basically, the CFT on the boundary side in the flat space. So, which is the algebra for this basically is the Carolean conformal algebra. So today the main discussion will be on that algebra. But before that, going to that, let us have a small or a brief recap of what we have done yesterday. So basically what we did yesterday, we start with so yesterday we start with ADS 3 in the global coordinate. Which is balance. Plus r squared pi squared. Right? Here your L is the radius of ADS. So you have the metric, and the next step will be to find the killing vector. So the killing of this metric are basically given by this. I'm sorry, am I audible, right? Okay. So killing vector, the signature of the metric in the embedding space is minus plus plus minus. So once you have this, and then you take the limit, the flat space limit, which is the tends to infinity. So in the end, what you get are the generators, which are given by ln's by phi plus int del t minus in r del. Similarly, the mn's del t. This is for basically for n minus 1, 0, and 1. Now, once you have the generators, so the next step will be to construct the commutation relation out of it. So the commutation relations for them then just becomes this. Mn plus m, and your m and the mn's goes to 0, which, as you have seen before yesterday, this is the BMS3 algebra. Similar thing you do for the BMS4. You start with the ADS4 metric and do the same thing. Take the killing vectors, take the limit, and in the end, the algebra which you get, in that case, it is something like this. Mn equal to m n plus m, and these commute with each other. And similarly, you will have the Mn n is equal to L plus 1 by 2 minus m plus L n, and this is the L. Yeah. Similarly, over here also the indices is given by L bar, and you have the same thing, N is equal to L plus 1 by 2 minus N Mn plus L. So these are the two algebra which we discussed yesterday, basically the BMS3 and the BMS4. And then moving on, this was from the bulk side. Moving on, yesterday we also discussed something which is the Galilean conformal algebra. In short, GCA. So this limit can be found by taking this from the conformal group with epsilon tends to 0. So in this case, the generators becomes minus Li, where again your n equal to minus 101 corresponds to the Hamiltonian dilatation and the special conformal transition, which is the temporal part, and there will be an Mn, which is del L. Again, for n equal to minus 1, 0, and 1, this corresponds to the spatial translation, the boost, and again the special conformal transformation, the spatial part, and also there are the GIJs, which are simply given by. Yeah. So here the commutator in this case then becomes so this is true for any dimension. L and for Ni and then N 0. And also there is the commutation between the Gij because the so I can just write here. It's a very small thing. So Gij is just 0 and the Mn of L, the Gij is just their from themselves. Yeah. Sorry. What's the message?
Yeah, sorry. I just want to ask. I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but can you point out the references for this part of your lectures? The areas to BMS and the conformal to GCA or CPA.
So the reference you want? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, if you want to look at that, so the reference to look at is basically the archive number is this 1203.579532. Okay.
Okay.
So if one so yeah, sorry, I think I somehow forgot to mention that yesterday. Yeah. So I was writing the generators basically. So here are the generators. So we have discussed yesterday these all. First we have discussed the BMS3, the BMS4 algebra, and finally we also discussed about this something known as the GCA, which is the Galilean conformal algebra, which you get from the conformal algebra. Now today what we will do is we will move on to the another algebra which we call as the Carolean conformal algebra, in short CCA. So you can call this as Carolean conformal, conformal Carolean, they both are isomorphic. So it's up to you what you want to call it, but Carolean conformal algebra is this. So for this case, let us first focus on d equal to 2 case. So in this case, we shall consider the relativistic CFT that is defined on the cylinder. So consider the following vector fields, which is given by this omega, and you have the Allen bars, the omega bar, where if you want to connect, your Z is basically given by I omega. So there is a transformation between the cylinder and the plane. This is given by like this, where your Z is equal to e to the power minus I omega, and your omega here is t plus x, and your omega bar is t minus x. So these vector fields generate the algebra. So for that, let us define ln equal to ln minus ln, sorry, my ln, minus n bar, and your mn as an epsilon plus minus n bar. Okay. So in these coordinates, the generators takes the form, the following form, which are then given by, if you do a linear combination of them, sin nx, I sin nt, del t plus cos nt del x. Whereas your other combination is just this, cos del t plus I sin del x. Okay. Yeah. What we will do now, we will define a new contraction as contrast to before yesterday what we have done, by taking the scaling, t goes to epsilon t and x goes to x, with epsilon tends to 0. So if you do that, the new vector, which is the ln and the mn, which we have defined before, are well defined in the epsilon tends to 0 limit, and they are given by the ln is equal to I x dx plus int del t. Similarly, for the mn, you have this del t. Okay. This you can get from here. Finally, using these generators, the algebra which we get is of the form like that. Equal to 0, and similarly, you have for the ln and the mn, which is given by this. So what we have now what we have seen, we have a new type of isomorphism, which is given by your CCA2, which we have is equivalent to GCA2, which from I have mentioned before. It's like, for example, if this is equal to 1, and this is equal to 2. So you can say that 1 is equal to 2. So the both algebra are the same in D equal to 2 dimension, which I was trying to yesterday also I was trying to say that. But that is only true in D equal to 2 case. So here what you can write is x goes to x, epsilon x, t goes to t is basically equivalent to t goes to epsilon t, x goes to x. Next, what we will do, let us try to understand what is this new contraction means. So for a Euclidean CFT, where your space and time are on the same footing, is simply a non-relativistic limit. Yeah. Next, now for a theory that is defined on a Lorentzian manifold, what does that even where that means? So this is a bit more subtle. So in D greater than 2, for example, if we took the non-relativistic limit with this one, we would end up on formal algebra, we would end up on GCA, as we have seen before. But if we take this one, it goes to be in higher dimension, end up at CCA. Or D greater than 2. Here also D greater than 2. So yeah. So this. So let us talk about that for now. About the sorry.
Yeah, so I didn't understand the first statement. I mean, if you have a Euclidean manifold, how is this? What is the meaning of a non-relativistic limit?
No, I'm just saying that you don't have any time direction, right? Everything is like spatial. So,
oh, you're saying even okay. So you're saying on Euclidean, it is non-relativistic to begin with.
yes,
This
yes.
is just some limit in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now let us start with the CCA. What we have been talking about. So let us start with the generators. Generators of conformal algebra in D dimension. Minkowski space. And those are just basically, you already know that, but I'm just writing it. Is equal to del mu. This is in the coordinate basis. And finally, your K mu is given by this. Yeah, if someone don't know, I'm just writing that. And x square is this. Okay. Now, what we want to do is next take the limit x goes to t, x goes to xi, and t goes to epsilon t. So in the epsilon tends to 0 limit, this, let's say this is 3 becomes The rotation part is the same, as you can say, C. It doesn't change. But your boost part changes. Let us write the translations. And your P naught basically is H is your del T. And this is your boost. So this changes. So, so one more component. So as you can see before, in your GCA, when you have the boost, for example, this is GCA, that is given by this. So see the difference between the algebra, how they are like different from each other. They are like totally two separate singular limits. And your is same. Similarly, you have your K naught, like the case, which is your K naught is your xi del T. And finally is your Ki, which is a very big one, but yeah, plus D del T minus xj del I. So these are the generators for the CCA. In any dimension. Now, similarly as before, these generators satisfy the algebra. So I'm only going to write the algebra which is like non-zero, the non-zero commutator, but there are more. So basically it's just given by this. So this is the rotation part. Similarly, you have when your rotation acts on the boost minus J this, right? Similarly, you have for the PI, it also follows the same. So just replace it with the space translations. And finally, the boost with PJ is given by this, which is P naught, which is Hamiltonian. So again, over here, as you can see before, from the Galilean part, the GCA part, if you try to see, this was 0. So there's a difference between the both algebras. And also your K naught Pi is Ji J naught J. And your P naught with Ki is minus 2J naught I. So this part, as you can see, is the same as the heuristic part. So you have already seen in the conformal algebra. But in there you have the mu nu's, now you have just the ij's. And finally, the d's, the dilatation acting on them is given by this. P naught is P naught. Okay. So this is the non-zero generators which I have written. There are also zeros, which we have not written down. Now, in 2 dimension, which is parameterized by t comma x, one can realize Galilean subalgebra by identifying so let's say you have the B, which is your J naught x, your P, which is your P naught, and your H with Px. If you do that, and moreover, by denoting L naught with D, L1 with Kx, L minus 1 with minus Px, and M naught with J naught x, M1 with naught, and M minus 1 with P naught. Again, the above generators then can be written the one which you have already seen before. So I'm just trying to show you different ways. Plus n, and we have this. Ooh, yeah, you have this. So finally, you can write these. There it is. So you have these. For example, let's say this is 4. So you can write equation 4, which you have before written down, in d equal to 2 as Lx equal to minus nx x del x plus n plus 1 t del t, and for the same for the mx as x plus 1 del t. So the expression is totally different from the one which we have already discussed for Galilean case. Here. So your t and x has like flipped the roles over here. Yeah. So this in d equal to 2 case, it becomes again an infinite algebra because n is for any n, like any integer. So this was for the d equal to 2 case, what we have seen till now, at least starting from here. Now, next step would be to move to d equal to 3 case. These are special cases actually. Going slowly. Yes. Okay. So in this case, let us parameterize the coordinate of 3-dimensional Minkowski space by this t, x, and y. We have 3 of them, and define new generators as, okay, let's move on to the next page because this is like for example, let us define as L0 as some d plus ijx L minus 1 minus half px plus iqy, and the L1, which is half kx plus iky. This one for the L's. Similarly, for the L0s, sorry, L0 bars, for the bars, let's take the other combination. Just the opposite to that. First you took the plus thing, now you will take the minus thing. Sorry, it's a small mistake. This will be a minus plus dy. And you have the ends. Plus ij not y. And the M10 also, there it is, minus ij not y. And finally, the M11 is k0. This is the boost, right? So from above these generators, so for the above generators which we have defined, we have the algebra, which is again given by, if you try to do this and then try to plug everything and try to find the correlations for the commutators, they are given by this. So this is everything is from the field theory, from the conformal side. n plus 1 by 2 minus r s. Similarly for the bars, this is n plus 1 by 2 minus s, where this is r n plus s. Okay, so already you have seen this before, the algebra. In the beginning I have showed you is this for the BMS forward. Yeah,
Yeah, hi. So in
Hi.
this case, why are we calling this the BMS algebra? Isn't this just the Poincaré algebra?
no, this is the CCA. I'm talking about the, this is not Poincaré, this is more, right? This is the Carolean conformal algebra.
So here I'm talking about the last algebra which you wrote down,
This one?
where you had
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
so this algebra isn't this just the Poincaré algebra? Oh, but you have also dilatations in this case.
Yes, yes.
So this D is dilatations. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So now what we can do, we can write in journal the ln's and the ln bars and the m, which is has the form which is given by n by 2 plus 1 t del t plus. So you can write it in a very nice form given by like this. The bars, the minus y by n by 2 t del t, just the total opposite of what you have before in science. And your m n del t. So over here, it is possible to generalize for arbitrary n. And this algebra, what you have then becomes an infinite dimensional algebra. So you have seen the algebra right now, the Carolean conformal algebra, basically for d equal to 2 and for d equal to 3. So before going to d equal greater than 4 or d equal to 4, let us first try to have a small discussion. So it is interesting to see that on boundary, where you take r tends to infinity of let's say this equation 6, which we have here. Six, it basically reduces to the expression of the generators of 2D GCA, which is here given by I'm just trying to, yeah, here. So we see that see that the flat space limit which you have in the bulk ADS in global coordinates induces a contraction in time in t direction of the relativistic conformal algebra, reducing it to the two-dimensional GCA and giving a clear physical understanding of how the BMS / GCA or CCA two-dimensional, for example, correspondence work as a limit of ADS3 plus CFT2. Okay, an important question now to answer is where your CFT lives. So in global ADS3, for which the Penrose diagram is given by something like this. You have a cylinder, something there. Let me try to choose different color. I'm a bit very bad at drawing, so please bear with me. Something like this. And you have another boundary. By this. Where this is your R equal to infinity. This one is R equal to some R naught. And this is equal to R equal to R1. Something. So what we have did here is that we indicate some surfaces of R as you can see, this is in blue and red. So when we take the flat space limit, the same surfaces are depicted by lines of the same color in the corresponding Penrose diagram in the Minkowski space. I will draw in a moment. Minkowski space-time. All right. So we for the Minkowski is given by this, something like this. You have the same. Sorry. This, and you have the same red one, which is this. So here again, it is the R equal to R1 prime. Red one is R equal to R naught prime, and here's the sky plus and minus. This is I0. So the relativistic CFT, which we had before in ADS, can be thought of as living on those surfaces. Constant R. So the corresponding non-relativistic CFTs would live on the surfaces of constant in the Minkowski spacetime. So it's like I'm just trying to make it clear. So taking the limit of r tends to infinity in the ADS 3 side basically corresponds to going to the boundary in the Minkowski. So as you can see from the diagram above, the boundaries in the Minkowski are the null boundary, the sky plus and the sky minus, and the point is spatial infinity. Yes or yes?
Yeah, so actually I didn't quite understand. So how does one get this, actually this Penrose diagram of Minkowski space from ADS? In some sense, like for example, like the asymptotic structure of flat space seems very different from that of ADS, right? So how does one actually get this by taking the large radius limit?
Basically, when you go to the flat space limit, you are going from to the Minkowski, right? Asymptotic symmetries is like the asymptotic flat spaces. So it is just like that, doing the same thing here, right? No?
Yeah, but how does one get this structure of null infinity actually? So when you have ADS, you're just, let's say you're working with ADS in global coordinates. So you just have a cylinder.
Yes.
And then
but when you take the same thing is that when you do the same thing on that and you take this limit on the metric itself, the metric changes. So the metric becomes like this. So from there you can define this Penrose, right?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So yes. Yeah. So it is interesting to note here that there are indeed structures which are same as the BMS algebra, which exists at spatial infinity, that is given by I0. For that, if someone is interesting to see what are the structures there that exist, so I recommend people to look at this paper by Asticker and Hansen. That is published in JMath. 1578, 1542, 66. Because I have a very less knowledge about that at spatial infinity. Okay. So till now, what we have done, we have given explanation of how to have CCA2. Then we have moved forward to CCA3. Now, next step would be to move one higher dimension, and we will look at what are the algebra, or what is the algebra, and what is given by the CCA4. Yes, please.
Yeah, so the way I understood the limit that you took, right, from this R going to infinity, I mean, I understood it as some sort of like a heuristic way that, okay, I have some CFT at some constant R in ADS, and the equivalent constant R is a surface in Minkowski, and then there the asymptotics is that I'm like, only here the asymptotics is x prime plus and x prime minus. So, but it seems like when you do this limit naively, you have the CCA2 on the entire union of sky plus and sky minus, right? Not just on E.
I'm sorry, can you repeat? It's cutting. Your voice is cutting.
Yeah, I was saying that it seems like this conformal Carolean algebra is defined on scri plus union scri minus.
Scri plus union scri minus. Okay. Yeah.
So and then the symmetry is, I mean, the asymptotic symmetry from, if you don't assume some sort of antipodal matching, it is BMS plus cross BMS minus. So is there a similar kind of reduction in this conformal Carolean algebra that reduces this BMS plus cross BMS minus to the diagonal BMS?
MS cross BMS. Basically, I'm just talking about the future null infinity. So I'm not talking about the both sides. So you're right that there is, but I'm just talking about at one right now.
Sorry, my internet was very unstable.
Okay.
I thought you mentioned just that you're only looking at future null infinity.
Sorry. Can you repeat?
Did you say that you're looking only at future null infinity?
No. The thing was like that. You can either look there or you can look in the past. I'm just saying that.
But in the limiting process that you mentioned, right? If I take R going to infinity,
sorry. Yes.
for a
That
constant
is for
R
both.
surface.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
So then I would think that the CCA2 requires, I mean, how do I localize on just scri plus or scri minus? I mean, from that limiting process.
From localizing, you mean, okay, just going to the one way, right? In one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think you can do that, but right now I don't have a proper answer to this question right now. But I think you can do that. That I have to see.
Okay.
Basically. Yeah. Yes, it is possible. But yes. Yeah, let me think about that. I think no, guys. Right now, I think it is slipped my mind. Okay. Now, let us try to write for the CCA4 in 4 dimension. So for that, again, just keep in mind these equations. So equation 4, which you have, and equation 5. This one, everything, just the algebra I have written for all dimensions. So just keep this in mind, and then moving forward is, so what we see that if you take this G to the Jij, D, Pi, and Ki, this forms a one lower dimensional relativistic conformal algebra. Euclidean. All right. So the structure basically here, so where your G is your conformal group on the sphere of infinity. So the other generators which are left, you can define as this, which is your H, B, I, and K, are the non-compact generators, which give rise to the translational part. So what we will now proceed to give this part at least an infinite extension. So the key to this infinite extension, infinite dimensional extension of the finite algebra found through the limit is the time translation. Gender with arbitrary spatial dependence. That is denoted by, let us say, something with map which have some dependence on a spatial part with x t minus 1 del t, or in short, you can also write this as x of del t. Here your fx is some arbitrary polynomial of degree alpha valued in space of tensor transformation transforming under SOD minus 1 generated by the GPs. So when your f xi is 1, xi, xk, xk, what we obtain is your MF as your H, Bi and K. That is basically belongs to the part of CC. So the finite generators, which is denoted by these, the boost, rotations, translation, scale transformation, and the special conformal transformation, along with MF, your F is arbitrary, constitute the infinite dimensional CCA. So the commutator between finite part of CCA and your MF are basically given by this. So I'm only writing between the MF, what you have is basically given by this, and your KI with MF is sum with value H, where your H bar is given by this square del I phi. The Gij also will act on it. Just give you some G, where your G is X goes to I del G acting on F, and your D with MF is some H again, where your H is Xi del IF minus F. Okay. So for example, here in 4 dimension, if you take this, if you take Px and then you act with M, you just get M of M minus 1 N R, something like this. So it's just a short form which I have written down. So this was the whole algebra. So this algebra with the finite, which we already have written down, forms the CCA 4 algebra. So as you have now seen all the algebra in the CCA2, CCA3, and CCA4. Next, what we will do is, before moving on to the example of this, an example, for example, a field theory here. So do you have any question or something? I will move forward. Hi, yes.
Yeah, so just to just to actually understand. So this CCA4 you are saying is the algebra that you get when you have asymptotically flat 4-dimensional Minkowski space. Is that correct?
Yeah, BMS 5. Yes.
Okay, I see. BMS 5.
Yeah.
No. So in that case, what is the space-time dimensionality of the bulk space-time?
So because as you have already seen, right, is like, so your BMS, whatever you have, it's always in one higher dimension, right?
Okay.
The
Okay.
CCD. So whatever you do, you have to consider one higher dimension in the bulk side.
So CCA4 is the
BMS
symmetry of 5-dimensional
Yes.
asymptotically flat space.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So let us move on to an example of these field theories. So the simplest, let us take the simplest relativistic example. Is again a spin zero real scalar field. So the Lagrangian, as we already know, Lagrangian and the corresponding equations of motions of this theory, the Lagrangian is basically given by this, and your equation of motion is given by this. So these, the Lagrangian equation of motions are invariant under conformal transformation. So now, if you take the limit, for example, the Carolean limit, which is again, I can write here as like this, t goes to epsilon t with epsilon tend to 0. Let's say, for example, on the equation of motion, it's again given by this plus del I pi square I is equal to 0. So it becomes like this. So which implies that you only get the time part, which is in totally contrast with the GCA, because in the GCA, the equation of motion which you get is something given by this, but in this limit, you get this. So to find the symmetries of the equation of motion, we first need to basically know the action of the generators on the field. So for that, again, similar to what we did for the conformal case, where you find the representation on the field, here also we will do the same thing, and we can write it, the action on the field, as this. As this is just the scalar field, so rotation will be only the space-time part. Similarly, the boost will give you this, the dilatation will have the scaling weight in, which is that, and given by this. Finally, your KJI, this is a little bit big, but this is given by this 2xi xj del I minus x squared del j phi, and the infinite part, which is your MF, acting on this gives you some M by N Z L del T phi. Oh, sorry, yeah, given like this. So this is the action. So there are ways to find the representation theory. Either you can take the relativistic conformal transformation, take the limit, which you have already here, taken this, and take it on the transformation, you end up to equation, let's say 7. Similarly, you can build like independent from the limit transform limit. Like for example, you start from the representation from the GCA as you have the algebra, the highest rate representation, you follow the same procedure and you end up with this. So now what you have, you already have a transformation. Now what we will do, we will use the equation of motion which we have here given by this. to find the invariance. So let's check for the dilatation. If you do that, let's say d square phi, it is just given by, in the end, if you calculate, is given by something like this, which is 0. Similarly, under the k del t acting on this comes out to be this. And finally, under the infinite part, we try to do that. We have the x and z to the power l del t, which is acting on del t square phi, is 0. So, as you can see from above, so I have only shown for a few of them. So this theory has CC invariance. So this was the simplest example, the first simplest example. Next, what we will do, we will move on to a little bit more involved example, which we call as the Carolian electrodynamics. But yeah, so here if it is fine, it's just the CFT which we are trying to do in this limit. Okay. So we are basically trying to understand what are the field theories in this singular limits, or in this actually in the Carolian limit what we have. So first example which I have shown you is just for the ordinary scalar field theory. Next, we will just move on to the one more, the last one, which is the Carolian electrodynamics, which is a bit involved. So for that, let us start with the Lagrangian, which is again given by this F mu L, where your F mu is del mu A nu. All right. And your equation of motion, of course, is by this. So this was the, and this theory, and this theory, yeah, the one of the interesting part is this theory relativistically is conformally invariant in d equal to 4 case. But that was not the case for the scale. For this case, you have that. Now, doing the same thing as before, which you have, but here the representation which you try to find the action is more involved, because now you have the two fields, which is your AT and the AI. Oh yeah, before that, sorry. Before that, is a limit. So you take the limit as like this, same as before on the coordinates, but now you also have to take the limit on the fields, where you have two limits in terms of that. So you have something like this, AI goes to AI, and the second is AT goes to AT, where your AI goes to epsilon AI. So you had only one case. Now in this case, in the Carolian case, you have two of them, and that is because of the indices which you had before. Thus, the metric become degenerate. Now this becomes totally two separate identities, two separate kind of fields. So that's why over here in this case you have two kind of limits on the fields. So doing this all together and taking the limit on the equation of motion, what you end up is, so the first equation which you have is basically given by this. is equal to 0 and del T LIAT minus del T AI is equal to 0. So that is the first limit. No, sorry. So this is the second one. If you take this one, you get this. And from the first, you will have this. Is equal to 0. So if you look at these equations, you still have the time part, which was missing basically from the Galilean case. So your degree of freedoms, which you have in this case, is the same as the one which you have in the relativistic case. Okay. So now what you do is now using the representation again, which we have theory. For this, it is a little bit different. For that case, because in the scalar case, you don't have any action on the boost, like because your Jij, if you have the spin part, that is everything is 0. But over here, that is not the case. So if you have the boost, which is acting on AT, which is at 0, 0, you have something which is given by AI and A, a constant. Similarly, B acting on AJ at 0, 0. This is B delta IJ. Let's look at this. Where your, for the two limits, which I have defined over here in 1 and 2. So if you take the value as 1 and B as 0, and another as 0 and B is equal to 1, you get the transformation for these two limits. So in the end, if you get the transformation and try to find the invariance of these equation of motion, which I have mentioned there, from there you can see that these equations comes out to be invariant under CCA 4. This theory is basically in 4 dimensions, because to start with, this theory was in 4 dimensions. So the example for a higher dimensional a theory which have Carolean conformal algebra. So what you did, you start with conformal algebra again. So CFT basically here, which have finite numbers, finite symmetries. So you take this limit, you end up with CCFT, which is the Carolean conformal field theories. Now, which also have the finite part, but also have the MF. So in total, it has more symmetry than the one which you have, which you started from before. So yeah, this was the one. So basically what is like that, basically why I'm interested in these, all these field theories. We also looked for, in this field theory section of this bulk, from this bulk, basically the conformal field theories. So we have also looked at different other things. For example, we have looked at the fermions also, how to take the limit on them, and also scalar electrodynamics and the electrodynamics, which is coupled to the fermions and everything we have looked, and also the Yang-Mills also. We have also looked for the Yang-Mills and all. So our main goal is basically to reach the n equal to 4 supersymmetric Yang-Mills over here and try to see what to get. So this was the whole thing which we have. I have this. So do you have any question till now here, please? So today, what we have looked is, first we have started with yesterday we have started with what you had said, the BMS one, the BMS algebra. Then we have moved to the GCA. And also we have looked at the CCA part. So the first thing which we have found is that the GCA 2 is isomorphic to CCA 2. Then also we have also seen that the BMS 3 is isomorphic to GCA 2 or CCA 2. And in the end, what we have done, we have gone to a little bit further. We have also looked at the CCA3, which was isomorphic to BMS4 in terms of the algebra. Next, we have looked at CCA4, and also we have, in the most general case, we have looked at the field theory. For example, the scalar field theory. And for the CCA4, exactly like CCA4, we have also looked at the field theory, which is we have called as the Carolian electrodynamics. So as you have seen until now, we have already discussed at the level of the equational motion, because taking these limits on the Lagrangian itself, it's a bit difficult. So what I have done till now, it is have taken at the level of the equation of motion. But now there are some papers where people have discussed also at the level of the have tried to construct the Lagrangian for this field theory. Because if you have the Lagrangian, then you can move forward to find the quantum version of these theories also. So I will just write down for example, the Lagrangian for the Carolian electrodynamics, just to see that how the Lagrangian looks like in this limit. Yeah, so basically for the first limit where you take AI goes to epsilon AI and AT goes to AT, where in this limit, you have also the one on the coordinates. So your Lagrangian in this is given by this dot square plus, so you can see how the Lagrangian will look, AT dot del dot A. All right. And in the other case, where you take this epsilon AT, the Lagrangian here becomes this. Plus so over here in the second limit, as you can see, we have to consider to build the Lagrangian, we have to consider some extra fields. So these is the extra fields which we have considered. And these Lagrangian are basically built by using a technique which we call as the Helmholtz conditions. So it is basically kind of a inverse calculus problem we do, because in the relativistic case, first you have the Lagrangian, then you try to find the equation of motion and so. But in this case, we already have the equation of motion. Now what we are trying to do, we have tried to construct the Lagrangian out of it. So since this limit have two more sectors, which you have seen before, so it will have two separate Lagrangian. So it is very hard to combine this Lagrangian together to form one. So that's why you have seen here too. And these both have the corresponding CCA invariance for them. So yeah, so this was the today thing which I wanted to discuss
one question.
about.
So
Sure.
whatever Lagrangians you arrive at, I mean, don't they follow from taking some limit of the usual Lagrangian -1/4 f nu nu f nu nu?
No, that is the thing I'm trying to say. If you directly try to take the limit on the relativistic case, the Lagrangian blows up.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so you cannot really do that. So for that, you have to add some extra fields such that you can construct it. Like for example, in this second field, this one.
Okay. And from then, from the newly constructed Lagrangians, you can also get conserved charges and all.
Yeah, then you can calculate the Noether's conserved charges and also the Poisson brackets out of it, and then go on for yeah.
Yeah, and
This has been.
one more question. So the analog of the usual BMS in electrodynamics was the large gauge transformation, right?
Yeah.
So here in this Carolian electrodynamics or in the CCA, I mean, do you still interpret those symmetries as some kind of large gauge transformations? Or
that we are trying to work right now. Like that is the part which we are trying to work right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is an ongoing work, and we are trying to really understand what are these field theories and how to basically understand more into it. So next step will be to look at the supersymmetric versions. So that will be the one.
Meaning,
So-
I was just wondering whether the gauge invariance somehow is playing an important role here, because as you also mentioned that for the scalars, you don't have the analog representations of the CCA, right? Meaning for
I'm
the
sorry.
scalars, you couldn't find any field theory which satisfy the CCA.
No. For the scalar field, you have. That's the thing I was
Okay.
trying to say. I showed you, like, you have that for the scalar fields.
I mean, not for scalar electrodynamics, only for scalars.
No, even for scalar electrodynamics, we also have found, but I have
No.
not given here. Yeah, sorry.
I'm saying for pure scalar, say FIFO theory or any kind of scalar theory, without coupled to any gauge field.
Yeah, you have.
Okay.
Yeah. For 5-4 theory, you have.
I see. Okay.
Aditya, do you have
Yeah.
like a free scalar field theory in 4 dimensions?
Free scalar theory. Yes, that is the thing which I showed you, right? Yeah.
No, I mean a free scalar field theory.
Free scalar theory is this, right?
Yeah, that's like that's from the taking limits on the equation of motion, right?
Yes.
But you don't have a Lagrangian for a free scalar.
But we
field.
don't have the Lagrangian. That is true. We only have the equation.
So only in 2 dimension we can have a Lagrangian who for a scalar field for which the theory is BMS invariant, right?
In 2 dimensions, yes.
Okay.
Till now, yes.
Thank you.
And also in the end, I just want, yes.
Yeah, so I just had a general question, but you can
Sure.
finish. Yeah.
No. Please,
Yeah.
please go on.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just wondering that. So in this case, I mean, in the context of flat space holography, as long as you are in space-time dimensions greater than equal to 4 from the bulk point of view, then the only observables that I know make sense are the scattering matrix elements, right?
Yeah.
So then do you think that these methods by which you are actually arriving at this Lagrangian descriptions of this possible boundary theories, is it possible to actually come up with some Lagrangian description of some putative boundary theory which would
Yes.
reproduce, let's say, the Walkes matrix?
That is our main goal, because right now we have that. So this is everything what I have talked about at the classical level. So now we have the Lagrangian, then we can now quantize these theories and then try to find the scattering amplitudes and everything. Yeah. That is our next goal, to do it for these theories. So this is a one way to basically go there and try to see what does you have here from the field theory side. Okay, so just one more thing which I just like is that if for the scalar field theory, if you try to find a 2-point correlation function, in this case is basically radial direction to this. So as you can see from here, so in the GCA case, as we have discussed yesterday, if you have something that correlation function, it's basically time dependent, but this is over here is dependent. So there are like 2 different limits, and just to show the difference between the 2 limits which you have by giving a small example of the. So today we have discussed everything about the CCA. So tomorrow will be a short discussion about some of the observables which we have basically for the BMS3 and CCA GCA2 in there, how to compare the quantities between them. So tomorrow we will have I will try to explain that. Yeah. Any more questions? So yeah, so it's done. No, then we can finish it.
I mean, if we don't have any questions for the speaker, we
Sure.
can have a round of applause.
Yeah,
Maybe we can stop the recording and like
Okay.
people have more questions.